Gradualism. The policy of approaching a desired end by gradual stages. Shalom. All praises, glories, and honors to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Wacha Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth, as well as men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy, to the elect of the nation of Israel, whom are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom and Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Ratazah. This lesson is edifying. Now in today's lesson, we will expound upon 3 articles, the first one being the one that you see before you, and we will then chain these articles together to show that the wicked, who is Esau, Edom, according to the book of Malachi chapter 1 verse 4, whom today are the so-called Caucasian race, beginning with their hegemony, in whom the earth, pursuant to the book of Job chapter 9 verse 24, the earth has been given into. Okay, we are going to show that these devils are using what is known as gradualism, which we just read the definition of gradualism, which is the policy of executing things in gradual stages to achieve a desired end. And gradualism comes in the form of psyops, false flags, so on and so forth, coups, so on and so forth. And now these devils are pushing this sentiment of the COVID-19 virus is now mutating and may be mutating to a point where it will bypass mask wearing and hand washing, which they've been pushing that for months now. Oh, you gotta wear a mask, you gotta wash your hands, you gotta keep 6 feet apart from each other. And this is all leading up to the chip, because you know what they're gonna say next? The only way to cure this virus is by taking an RFID microchip, which according to the book of Revelation chapter 13, the RFID microchip is a mark of the beast. And to you Israelites out there, do not take the mark of the beast, because there's a judgment for that. Anyway, let's read the first article. The title of this first article reads, COVID-19 mutation may be evolving to bypass mask wearing and washing, by Jackie Salo, published on September 24th, 2020 at approximately 2:23 p.m. and uploaded by the New York Post. It's a pretty brief article, and seeing that we will be reading 3 articles, we'll just quickly read through them. Now it says, a new COVID-19 mutation appears to be even more contagious, according to a study. And experts say it could be a response by the virus to defeat mask and other social distancing efforts, which this is complete bullshit. Scientists in a paper published Wednesday identified a new strain of the virus, which accounted for 99.9% of cases during the second wave in the Houston, Texas area, the Washington Post reported. The paper, which has not been peer-reviewed, said people with the strain known as the D614G mutation had higher loads of virus, suggesting it is more contagious. Though the strain isn't more deadly, researchers said it appeared to have adapted better to spread among humans. David Maureen's a virologist at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, said the findings suggest that the virus may become more contagious and that this may have implications for our ability to control it. See? So they're going to say, oh, well, look, the only way we're going to be able to contain this virus, we will be able to cure this virus, is by rolling out what is known as an RFID microchip. And every citizen must receive this mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Remember, the scripture says that they're going to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand and in their forehead. Okay? Except for the elect of the nation of Israel, that is, because the elect, Lord's willing, I'm of the elect, as well as you brothers out there, a few sisters, we will not be taking that RFID microchip through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Yahweh Ratazah. Okay, now reading on, it says, he said it's possible that the virus had evolved to resist efforts such as hand washing and social distancing. Wearing masks, washing our hands, all those things are barriers to transmissibility, or contagion. But as the virus becomes more contagious, it statistically is better at getting around those barriers, more until the newspaper. This concludes this article. Let's go on to the next. This article was uploaded by defense1.com entitled Science and Tech. A military-funded biosensor could be the future of pandemic detection. Or what is that ultimately referring to? The chip, the RFID microchip, also known as the NFC chip implant or biochip implant, which is the mark of the beast. If it wins FDA approval next year, the two-part sensor could help spot new infections a week before symptoms begin to show. All gradualism leading up to the RFID microchip being mandated. Why are pandemics so hard to stop? Often it's because the disease moves faster than people can be tested for it. The Defense Department is helping to fund a new study to determine whether an under-the-skin biosensor can help trackers keep up. Under the skin, key point, by detecting flu-like infections even before their symptoms begin to show. Its maker, Perfusa, says the sensor is on track to try for FDA approval by early next year. The sensor has two parts. One is a 3mm string of hydrogel, a material whose network of polymer chains is used in some contact lenses and other implants, inserted under the skin with a syringe. What is that referring to? That chip. The syringe includes a specially engineered molecule that sends a fluorescent signal outside of the body when the body begins to fight an infection. The other part is an electric component attached to the skin. It sends light through the skin, detects the fluorescent signal, and generates another signal that the wearer can send to a doctor, website, etc. It's like a blood lab on the skin that can pick up the body's response to illness before the presence of other symptoms like coughing. The announcement comes as the United States grappled with COVID-19, a respiratory illness that can present in flu-like symptoms, such as coughing or shortness of breath. The military is taking a leading role in vaccine research. Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Gen Mark Milley told reporters at the Pentagon on Monday, "Our military research labs are working feverishly around the horn here to try to come up with a vaccine, so we'll see how that develops over the next couple of months." Milley said U.S. troops themselves are also at risk. A U.S. soldier in South Korea became the first U.S. service member to contract the virus, the Wall Street Journal reports in February. This concludes that portion of the article. I'm not going to read the rest for the sake of time, but I will leave the links in the description box. Let's move on to the third and final. From the mintpressnews.com, a transhumanist dream. Now, remember the first article read that the mutation may be evolving to bypass mask wearing and hand washing. So, seeing that this is so-called occurring, they're going to need a way to be able to track this newly evolved version of the virus. And they're going to do that by way of a biometric tracker, which they're pushing for, which we know that it is the RFID microchip. which they been made for decades. They always had it in the works and in plans to roll out. Okay, for a pandemic detection, so called. And so now we're gonna read this: a Transhumanist Dream. See, gradualism. A DARPA-funded implantable biochip to detect COVID-19 could hit markets by 2021 by Raul Diego. It says the most significant scientific discovery since gravity has been hiding in plain sight for nearly a decade, and its destructive potential to humanity is so enormous that the biggest war machine on the planet immediately deployed its vast resources to possess and control it, financing its research and development through agencies like the National Institute of Health (NIH), the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency (DARPA), and HHS's BARDA. The revolutionary breakthrough came to a Canadian scientist named Derek Rossi in 2020 purely by accident. The now retired Harvard professor claimed in an interview with the National Post that he found a way to reprogram the molecules that carry the genetic instructions for cell development in the human body, not to mention all biological life forms. And this is what these devils are trying to be. They're trying to be like the Most High, man, with all this stuff. You know? These molecules are called messenger ribonucleic acid, or mRNA, and the newfound ability to rewrite those instructions to produce any kind of cell within a biological organism has radically changed the course of Western medicine and science, even if no one has really noticed yet. As Rossi himself puts it, the real important discovery here was you could now use mRNA, and if you got it into the cells, then you could get the mRNA to express any protein in the cells, and this was the big thing. I just skip down straight to the point because it's a pretty lengthy article. But what I will do is I will leave this in the description box. So we'll read one more paragraph, and then we're going to go to the scriptures. Now, it says, as early as 2006, DARPA was already researching how to identify viral upper respiratory pathogens through its Predicting Health and Disease PhD program, which led to the creation of the agency's Biological Technologies Office, BTO, as reported by Whitney Webb in a May article for the Last American Vagabond. In 2014, DARPA's BTO launched its In Vivo Nanoplatforms (IVN) program, which researches implantable nanotechnologies, which is that chip, leading to the development of hydrogel. Hydrogel is a nanotechnology whose inventor early on boasted that if it pans out with approval from FDA, and consumers could get the sensors implanted in their core to measure their levels of glucose, oxygen, and lactate. This contact lens-like material requires a special injection to be introduced under the skin, where it can transmit light-based digital signals through a wireless network like 5G. That's that chip, man. Once firmly implanted inside the body, human cells are at the mercy of any mRNA program delivered via this substrate, unleashing a nightmare of possibilities. It is perhaps the first true step towards full-on transhumanism, which is what these devils want to do. A philosophy that is in vogue with many powerful and influential people, such as Google's Ray Kurzweil and Eric Schmid, and whose proponents see the fusion of technology and biology as an inevitable consequence of human progress. I will stop here. I will leave the article in the description box. Now let's get to the scriptures. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16, and we all know this. And the he is referring to the hegemony of Esau, Edom, so-called Caucasian race, the wicked. Cause of all people are on the face of the planet Earth except for the elect of the nation of Israel, both small and great, from a newborn baby to an elderly senior in society, rich and poor, whether they be rich in society or whether they be poor in society, free and bond, free or in the jail systems, to receive a mark. That word mark there in the Greek is charagma, which means an imprinted mark. All right, which that imprinted mark or that stamp is the RFID microchip. In Europe, it is known as the NFC chip, implant, or biochip. Now, the root word of charagma is charax, which means a palisade or a stake, which is that syringe mechanism that will use to puncture the flesh of an individual to then insert that chip. The root word of charax is grapho, which means of the writings, filled with the writings. Because within the RFID microchip is where people's information will be filled, will be kept, will be written. Their medical information, their financial information, everything about them, their livelihoods, everything, their DNA. Okay, that's that mark, the RFID microchip, in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast. Now, the beast is the pagan Roman Empire, which came back in the form of NATO and the EU, with America being an extension of that empire, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that had understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score and 666, which is the barcode system that this beast system uses and will use to roll out their new technology in the form of the RFID microchip. In the Greek, it is chi, sty, stigma. Chi and sty both means X marks. And as I always made mention, there's a saying, X marks a spot. When you look at certain medical movies, before a doctor or a nurse would puncture the flesh of an individual, they would make a small X or a circle with a dot in the middle. That's that X marking the spot, before they would then puncture their flesh with a syringe to then inject whatever is within it. Okay, and stigma means stamp, which is that chip. And figuratively, according to the online etymology dictionary, it is a mark of disgrace. Now let's get the judgment. Do not take the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, of you Israelites out there. Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image. Now the image of the beast is a system of the beast, which comprises laws, his infrastructure, his finance, his educational system. Everything that comprises this man's system is an image of the beast. His philosophies, his democracy, that is the image. And receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And so the wrath of the Lord is being likened unto wine that is poured out into a cup that is being likened unto his indignation, his righteous anger, in which those that worship the beast, those that receive its mark and worship its image will be destroyed, will drink and be destroyed by, which will come in the form of those ICBM nuclear missiles. Okay, and also from the concentrated rays of light that will be shot forth from the chariots, which the world calls so-called UFOs. Now reading on, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone from those ICBM nuclear missiles, in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, who is the Lamb, or Lord Yahushua. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, meaning for a period of time, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. And this concludes the lesson. To you Israelites out there, do not take the RFID microchip, for it is the mark of the beast, and this is the judgment. With that, until the next, I say Shalom. Yahweh Ratasah.